It was 53 days ago where the Trump regime said they would do 90 deals in 90 days in their trade war against the world, where they tariffed every single country. To date, they have done 0 deals in 90 days. And it seems like every 2 weeks they say, we're about to get a big one done. Just you wait. Like 2 weeks ago, Howard Lutnick said, I spoke at the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum Annual Leadership Summit tonight. We have a great relationship between our countries. I'm optimistic for a trade deal soon that will benefit both nations. How many times have you heard the U.S. and India is about to get that deal done? The U.S. and Japan about to get a deal done. The U.S. and the European Union, they're very close. The United States and you name the country. And then when you actually look at what's going on in those countries, they're saying things like, we don't really even know what the Trump regime is asking us to do, that the Trump regime's policies are incoherent and it's unclear what they're even trying to accomplish. Then Donald Trump will go on social media in a panic rage post, or he'll give some deranged speech and he'll say, I'm raising the tariffs from 25% to 50% on aluminum and steel. And then that sets back the conversations where progress is being made even more. I'm noticing, though, how the world is uniting against Donald Trump in these trade wars. And if you study what's happening just in the past week in Japan, India, European Union, Australia, and Canada, you take a look at it the way we do deep dives, what they're all basically staying united together for, and all of these countries that Trump has tariffed across the world, is, hey, Donald, you need to eliminate your baseline tariffs and all these ridiculous tariffs. Remove the tariffs and we can make a deal. Not just the 25 to 30% ones, the 10% against everyone, remove that as well. And if you want to have a genuine trade relationship, then remove all of these tariffs. But Donald Trump keeps going back and raising the tariffs and making moves that derail any progress. So let me just give you some updates about what's happening in these various countries to show you how each country seems to be utilizing the same tactic, knowing that Trump's a taco, that Trump always chickens out. So this is what Japan's doing. Japan draws a red line. No U.S. trade deal without full tariff rollback, says their economic minister. And so the economic minister who's been negotiating with the United States is a guy named Ryoshi Akazawa. And the line in the sand that he's drawing is, you've got to roll back all of your tariffs against Japan, and let's go back to dealing in a free trade relationship. And Akazawa made Japan's position very clear. No deal is possible unless all tariffs are included, especially the one on cars. Japan's car industry is one of its largest, and the country is worried about the U.S. imposing a 25% tax on Japanese-made vehicles. In July, another 24% tariff is set to take effect on Japanese goods unless an agreement is reached. Japan wants the U.S. to remove all of these tariffs, including those on steel, aluminum, car parts, and full vehicles. Akazawa told reporters that the Japanese embassy in Washington that Japan is strongly urging the U.S. to cancel the taxes. He said if the U.S. agrees to that, then Japan might be able to make a deal, but without that, it will be difficult for us to agree, he warned. And we're seeing AP and Reuters reporting something similar. I want to show you in a second, too, what Donald Trump was doing with Japan back in 2020. And when you see this video, you're going to be like, how could you ever make a deal with this maniac, Donald Trump? But what I want to show you next is what's going on in India. And you know, I've had a continuing series about what's been the reaction in India to Trump's trade war against India and against the rest of the world. And I've pointed out that India is furious at Donald Trump for taking credit for the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, which Donald Trump had nothing to do with. It is a source of pride for India that they engaged in a bilateral negotiation with Pakistan after a successful military operation following the terrorist attack in Kashmir. And India doesn't like to be told that Donald Trump dangled trade in front of them like they were begging for it. And that's why there was a ceasefire negotiation with Pakistan. I think also if you take a look at what India, what the European Union, what Japan, they're all seeing as well that it's very possible that the United States courts are going to strike down Donald Trump's unlawful tariffs as well. India is also pissed about Donald Trump going after foreign students. There's about 200,000 Indian students who attend schools, including top universities in the United States. India is pissed at Donald Trump attacking companies like Apple and Samsung, saying, don't build your factories in India. India is like, why are you interfering with us? Like, we're the fourth largest economy. Stop telling these companies not to build in India. And India is also pissed that Donald Trump is doing deals with crypto deals with Pakistan and one of these world liberty crypto ventures that Donald Trump's family owns 60% of.
Hey everyone, Brett here, and I want to tell you about a tool I use every single day, ExpressVPN. We all know that the internet isn't private. Your internet provider can see everything you do online, and they can legally sell that data to advertisers. That's why I use ExpressVPN to keep my online activity private and secure. Whether I'm researching stories, booking travel, or even just watching silly videos on YouTube, ExpressVPN keeps it my business. And when I'm on public Wi-Fi, airports, hotels, coffee shops, I never connect without it. It encrypts my data so hackers can't steal it. It's peace of mind in my pocket. Plus, I love that I can unlock content from around the world. I recently used it to watch a few shows which aren't on US Netflix but stream in other countries. It's the fastest VPN I have ever used with 24/7 support, trusted server tech, and lets me connect up to 8 devices. Find how you could get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/MeidasTouch. That's expressvpn.com/MeidasTouch.
So now going to the European Union here. The European Union is basically saying, this is as of yesterday on June 2nd, that the Europeans making its strong case for the U.S. to remove the tariffs. The European Union's like, we want to do a deal. But we believe in free trade. So stop doing these aluminum tariffs and these steel tariffs against us and all of these tariffs against us. And we could try to find common ground. The European Commission said on Monday it would make a strong case this week for the United States to reduce or eliminate tariffs, even after Donald Trump said he would double the import duties on steel and aluminum to 50%. Europeans Trade Commissioner is going to meet with the United States Trade Representative at a gathering in Paris tomorrow on Wednesday, while Commission's technical teams will be in discussions with their counterparts in Washington. And what we're seeing here is, this is the following. The Commission, which oversees trade policy for the 27-nation European Union, said it was prioritizing negotiations to resolve the conflict. Quote, we don't want to go down the route of tariffs. Rather than have them increase, we want them to decrease and where possible, eliminate them. A Commission spokesperson told a press conference on Monday. That remains the case. That remains our priority. We will be making that case strongly, both at a technical level and at a political level this week. So they're saying the same thing that we heard from India, the same thing that we heard from Japan. We're seeing the same thing in Australia. Australia's trade minister says Trump's plan to double steel and aluminum tariffs to 50% is not the act of a friend. Don Farrell says the U.S. president's latest tariffs is an act of economic harm and an economic self-harm, and he will continue to advocate for their removal. Australia's trade minister, Don Farrell, has described Donald Trump's trade tariffs as unjustified and not the act of a friend after the U.S. president announced he would double import duties on steel and aluminum to 50%. And he's saying, why are you doing this economic self-harm? You're only going to hurt consumers and businesses who rely on free and fair trade. We will continue to engage and advocate strongly for the removal of these tariffs. We're seeing the same things with Canada, although in Canada, because they're the largest exporter of steel, into the United States. Donald Trump raising the tariffs there to 50% is, also a form of kind of economic warfare against Canada. So as I said from the outset of this video also, I wanted to show you this video from 2020. You may say, whoa, this seems like this video was recorded now. Though this is 2020 when Donald Trump basically tried to shake down Japan in 2020 after removing the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, where there was already a trade deal between the United States and Japan that former President Obama worked on. Again, what I'm showing you now is first-term Trump. This is from 2020, over 5 years ago. And I want you to watch how Bloomberg covered it then, because you'll see that Donald Trump never acts in good faith. So after making a fake deal with Japan, after removing another deal, Donald Trump now comes back in and he's doing the same crap again. Here, play this clip.
Well, it's important to know what this trade deal is and what it isn't. It's a mini deal that gives Donald Trump a little something to talk about in terms of trade. However, what he's really done is create a problem, cancel the problem, and then say he's done something great. Here's what we mean. Japan is our third largest trading partner, which means it has, given our trade situation, the third largest trade deficit with the U.S. You can see it's an important part of the overall trade deficit, about $298 billion last year. Now, the president and the Japanese prime minister have done a deal on the margins that will help that a little bit. It will reduce Japanese barriers to agricultural sales, in particular, wheat being a big portion of that. But what it really does is just get us back to where we would have been if Donald Trump hadn't taken the U.S. out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, that trade deal that the U.S. led that we then canceled when he came to office. As you can see, trade from the exports of U.S. wheat to Japan have gone down a little bit, and as a percentage of our total exports of wheat, it has declined. This will give us a chance to get back a little more into that game, but it doesn't solve the problem for a lot of other agricultural products that are still under rules that are not governed by the TPP. The other aspect that is interesting about all of this is it doesn't mention, this deal doesn't mention autos at all, even though the president has a lot. And you can see auto exports to the U.S. from Japan are a very important part of our overall trade in motor vehicles and the overall trade deficit. The problem here is that the president doesn't seem to care about the deal he made yesterday. He's more focused on this. Last month, he said that the Japanese send us thousands and thousands, millions of cars. We send them wheat. That's not a good deal, but he didn't address that now. He could still put tariffs on, though he's hinting he won't. That's something we're going to have to keep in mind, even though this deal is, well, it's in place.
Now, with the Trump regime, they always engage in projection and confession. And so I noticed at the end of last week, you had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent make a criticism of the European Union, which is actually the criticism of the United States. And what Treasury said, this because they always tell on themselves. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's like, the problem we're having in negotiating with the European Union is that none of the member countries of the EU knows what the EU is actually negotiating with us. They're all speaking differently than their source of their central negotiator. That's not true. That's false. The EU is speaking with a centralized voice. The issue with all of the countries trying to negotiate with the United States is they don't know who's speaking on behalf of the United States. Is it Peter Navarro, who would love 1,000,000% tariffs, who doesn't understand trade policy at all? Is it Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent? Is it Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary? Is it Steve Witkoff? Is then, after they make progress, is Donald Trump going to go give a speech and then raise tariffs like aluminum and steel from 25% to 50%? Or is Donald Trump going to wake up in the middle of the night and panic post a new set of tariffs? What's going on? So let me play you this clip of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
Is there an opportunity for negotiations in these 9 days?
Well, I'm not going to negotiate on TV, but I would hope that this would light a fire under the EU, because, Bill, I've said before, EU has a collective action problem here. It's 27 countries, but they're being represented by the one group in Brussels. So some of the feedback that I've been getting is that the underlying countries don't even know what the EU is negotiating on their behalf.
So there you have it, folks. And I think it's important that you see what the international community is doing, how they're handling the Trump regime right now. And their basic position is, no, Donald, we want to make deals. You want to do deals? We'll do deals. But we know you're a taco. We know Trump always chickens out. We know you haven't made deals in the 90 days. And you see these countries standing strong together and basically saying, just drop your tariffs. Drop the tariffs against us. We won't do countermeasures against you. Because now we're seeing European Union countermeasures again, Canadian countermeasures again, and every time there seems to be a breakthrough in some of these negotiations, Trump goes back, he gives a speech, and he destroys the negotiations. And I've given you a bunch of countries there where you can see the data points. Anyway, hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. And thank you so much for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA Union made.